Windsor, Ontario. Your next contest is the second installment of USA versus Canada. Are you ready? Say yeah! Here we go. Making his way out to the blue corner. Here comes Junior Cortez.
Junior Cortez coming all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. Probably not a fan of the weather here in Windsor right now.
No, definitely not.
Much cooler. But coming in at the record of 3-1, and he's been pacing backstage, excited about this. A little bit surprised that these guys fighting at, around 145, because both Junior Cortez and Chuck Mady probably could be sitting around 25, 35, 35 maybe at the most.
Yeah, and actually Chuck Mady's coming off a fight where he went up against Vladimir Kazbekov at BTC, where I believe he was in at 135 pounds for that fight. So this one definitely was a little bit surprising. Junior Cortez is coming off a loss at LFA 59, but by split decision. His first 3 career fights, all won by form of knockout, none of which went past the second round. So there's heavy hands for Junior.
It's a good experience to have those split decision losses, because you vow to yourself, never again am I leaving it into the judge's hands when there's some uncertainty. It just gives you that extra push the next time you step in the cage. So look for Junior Cortez to try and make quick work of Chuck Mady, just in terms of getting back that. How you feel after a loss, it changes everything and how you come out the next time around.
And when you saw Junior Cortez's name come up, somebody comes out of the MMA lab, which is a very well-respected gym in the States, this was something that kind of came out of nowhere to see him come all the way up to Windsor to take this fight. And it's clear that this is just a young man who wants to get in the cage and get as much experience as he can wherever he can. Explosive movement, explosive speed. He is not going to be easy to handle.
And his opponent, making his way out to the red corner. Please welcome Chucky Mady.
And there's a fight family. If you've ever seen a fight family, I mean, his father, Albert Mady, 9th degree black belt in a variety of different disciplines. And Chuck Mady has kind of taken to the bare knuckle boxing side of things, gone in that direction as well. I don't know if the Madys were born with just metal in their knuckles. They just, his dad is a breaking champion, and he's now doing, Chuck himself, but bare knuckle boxing. So, but he keeps getting in there. I mean, he's not sporting a great record, but he seems, I think his record is a reflection of him saying yes to anybody they put in front of him.
Yeah, we've talked before about guys that have turned down fights, and on the women's side, how a lot of them weren't able to do that because there just wasn't that big pool of fighters. Chuck Mady at one time might have been a guy who would have benefited from saying no to a couple of fights, just because he's taken on anyone and everyone who will step in the cage with them, throw the records out the window. He's willing to fight anybody, anytime, and that is both a great positive, and that promoters love him.
I was going to say a promoter's dream.
Absolutely.
You can call it Chucky.
And unfortunately for him, it's played games with this record. He went on a long losing streak, but he's bounced back. He split the last 2. Philip Deschambeau, he got a win over, and then lost to Vlad Kazbekov, who's a young fighter on the rise out of the Parabellum gym. So this is definitely a clash of 2 fighters. Mady, a veteran, trying to make, essentially reemerge and make another mark, whereas Junior Cortez is looking to continue that jump straight up.
And this is what you're seeing if you're at all able to see the cage. Junior Cortez pacing, and this is what I saw in the back in the dressing room, just so eager to get in here and get it going. I mean, he just wants to get this fight going and out of the way, and in talking to him, he's looking to make this fight end quick. I mean, but I've seen Mady fight a variety of different ways, come out and he'd kickbox, he'd box, or he'd just jump up and pull guard. So you just don't know what to expect out of Chucky Mady.
Yeah, he is. If Pete Trevino is Mr. Throwdown, Chuck Mady is Mr. Unpredictable. And you wonder what the game plan is going to be. Junior Cortez was not his original opponent for this fight. Junior Cortez was a later replacement. I believe a couple of weeks ago stepped in. So definitely that changed everything for Chuck Mady.
Here we go, Windsor fight fans. The following contest is being brought to you by Mezzo Ristorante and Lounge, Thunder Road Harley-Davidson, and FightSupply.ca. Scheduled for 3 rounds in the featherweight division. Here are your fighters. First, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks trimmed in silver. Standing 5 feet 7 inches tall, he weighed in at 145 pounds. He comes to the cage representing Fight Ready MMA with a record of 3 wins and 1 loss. Fighting out of and representing Phoenix, Arizona, USA, ladies and gentlemen, here is Junior Cortez. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black, red, and white trunks. Standing 5 feet 7 inches tall, he weighed in at 144.2 pounds. He comes to the cage representing Mady's MMA with a record of 6 wins and 10 losses. Fighting out of and representing Windsor, Ontario, Canada, ladies and gentlemen, here is the 519 original, Chucky, the Energizer Buddy Mady. Referee Matthew Rocca with fight instruction.
Went over the rules in the back. Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions at all times. If you want to touch gloves, do so now. Make your way back to your corners.
Junior
This
Cortez
USA
like
versus
down
Canada
about a half a
matchup
dozen
will be
Red Bull before he
decided
stepped into
in
the cage.
3 rounds.
Been like this for about
or
2 hours,
less.
3 hours here tonight. I think this will solidify for Chucky if maybe he found his home at bare knuckle, just in terms of being a champion right now, you know, because he's back in the MMA cage, so flipping back and forth.
Well, Chucky's going to take the middle of the cage, and not surprising because Junior is just staying on that bicycle, and he's switching stances immediately.
You know, goes low and then fires high from the Junior Cortez. You know, that's where you're going to catch somebody. Make them look at a bunch of things. Both these guys, though, trading leather. Nice spinning back fist from Chucky, but you just got to be careful you don't rest right afterwards.
Clash of bodies on the attempted takedown. Looked like both had pretty well the same idea coming in. And now you see Junior just tracking him down again at Mady. Nice spinning back kick.
Both of them looking at a little bit of a chess match right here. If they plan to come in, you know, very aggressive, they've gained respect for each other so far.
Mady being the veteran here, Kara, what would you think he needs to do in this first round to sort of take control of this fight?
My concern is he's getting a little bit flat-footed, and you know, you've got to just be careful with this young, you know, kid coming up and looking to get the W to erase that loss from his last fight. But they're both, you know, trading a lot of leather, loading up on every single shot. So there may be some fatigue that sets in when you're trying to drop, you know, such heavy hands. Chucky has had a lot of success with his kicks, whether he goes low or high, and I think he's got to keep going back to that.
Being in bare knuckle boxing, that's such a different world than mixed martial arts. Sure, some of the stand-up is transferable, but nothing with kicks, knees, elbows.
No, and I think the pace, right? Because you only have so many shots you're going to land or throw because it can be so dangerous. Chucky mixing things up. And I find Chucky tends to come out strong, but then you see him fade. So I'd like to see him like keep up this pace, move around. He's getting flat-footed, and you don't want to see Cortez turn it around.
If he could land one of those spinning attacks, that would certainly change the dynamic of this fight. Throwing heavy, but Junior just doesn't seem to be there.
Well, it's interesting because I think Junior has his own game plan because his corner's been, you know, talking to him about the takedown, and he's content to just stand with Chuck Mady. And I think Chuck's got to go back to some of those kicks, those unpredictable kicks, and a lot of the spins, whether that's a spinning back fist, those are the ones that have been successful because they're really hard to predict and they're hard to block.
Yeah, and you wonder if Junior may be trying to prove something here after that split decision loss, stepping back in and maybe trying to say, hey, I can do this just standing up.
Well, you can tell some of the kicks that have landed that have been pretty heavy because Cortez has kind of backed up and waited. And almost like sometimes you back up and wait just to see if your body's cooperating with you, to see how you did take it.
Mady's got to be careful that right hand, that looping right.
Yeah, and this is where the variety is coming in that's helping for Cortez. And this is what my concern was. You know, Mady comes out strong and he comes out with a lot of the skill set he's developed over the years, but then the slow down like a veteran would, right? He's got a lot of fights under his belt. Bleeding from his right eye at this point.
Yeah, some of those shots from Cortez definitely landing. And it's that looping right hand that seems to be causing the trouble.
A big knee up the center and very smart in terms of range for Junior. I mean, he spaces out and able to land those knees. He wasn't smothering himself, not able to get those off.
And how about that switch up? He looked to throw the left knee, saw that Mady was going to block it, and then immediately switched down right knee straight up the middle again, and then landed. Just threw the timing off, and Mady didn't have a chance.
I think no matter, you know, the outcome of this fight, a lot of people are going to be excited what they saw here tonight. You know, you're seeing, you know, some veteran work in the cage.
And Mady's staying right in there. That was a heavy right. I think he only caught Cortez with the very end of it.
Just feeling each other out, knowing that whatever's coming is pretty unpredictable, and there may not be a block, because they don't seem to be blocking too much.
No, they both seem to be just willing to stand in there and fire. And oh, that body kick.
You know, Junior doing a great job of following up with hands after those kicks, because that's typically what you want to see. You want to see hands follow with a kick. Kick, follow with hands. Mady again, you know, you're seeing that flat-footed almost, that's what you would see typically of veterans. You know, when they've been in the cage a lot, they kind of get flat-footed in that manner.
Dan Henderson spent his whole career walking like that in the cage. But when you threw that kind of right hand, you could get away with it. Oh, Mady's saying, hey, I got a right hand.
Yeah, and just answering back. If someone's going down, you know, because they're both throwing heavy leather, and they're throwing combinations, which opens you up.
Whizzer position, who's going to come out on top is Cortez is going to be the one on top. We're under 10 seconds left in the round. In fact, that was it right there.
I was going to say, this feels like an 8-minute round. I mean, such high intensity.
And despite some of the heavy shots we saw thrown in that round, Kara, they're both going to get into the second.
Well, I mean, Junior Cortez probably a little bit surprised at what Mady was able to do there. You know, he took a lot of shots and he kept coming back. He took a heavy kick and he kicked back. I mean, probably often when you're delivering that kind of power, no one's coming back, you know, to respond.
Well, one thing we know about Chuck Mady is that man is as tough as they come, and he's going to stand in there and take a lot of punishment. So if you're Junior Cortez, you just have to keep putting it on him if you want to put him away in this fight. He's not going to go out easily. And on the other side, we saw Mady, as you were talking about, able to bounce back a couple times where it seemed like Cortez had everything going in his direction, and then Mady would throw a right hand or maybe even confused with an attempted spinning attack and then follow
make some
up.
noise.
My
Round
expectation for this round is Junior Cortez
2.
trying to take Mady down. I mean, why are you going to stand with someone who throws things that are unpredictable, risk getting a cut? Even if you come out with a W, you get a cut, you can't fight again in a month or 2 months. So this is where I would think, if I'm Junior's corner, I'm like, take him down, let's end this, let's walk away, you know, with the W without any cuts.
I honestly can't believe they kept Junior Cortez on a stool that long.
Well, Mady made him work that first round. See, and this is the thing, he seems flat-footed, but he will, you know, check or block, and he'll come firing back at you, Mady will.
Mady has a cut by the right eye and bleeding from the nose.
I'm thinking with Mady, too, he's got so much scar tissue from the years and decades of fighting that he might open up a little bit quicker.
We've seen that across mixed martial arts, guys that have been in a lot of wars. The excess scar tissue will open up quite quick. No. Junior says he's all right, wants to keep going. Oh, and he came right after him with the right hand.
And Mady just trying to stand toe-to-toe. See, this is where your toughness works against you a little bit, taking a lot of shots, right? Just sitting in the pocket, not getting on your bike, moving. See, Mady needs to go back to some of those long kicks and maybe a spinning back fist just to be unpredictable like he was in the first round.
Chucky taking some deep breaths as well. Oh, but again, there you see that right hand, and that's why you can't count him out as he lands another. Cortez able to pull him off the cage. Mady comes straight up.
And it's interesting, Junior's corner telling him to take him down, and that's kind of was my idea. It's like you want to walk away, no scars, move forward, you know, get the W after you've already shown, yeah, here we go.
Chucky almost seemed to go with that one. Maybe he was trying to set up a submission on the way down, but I think he lost what he was looking for. And this is a really awkward position as Cortez has Mady stacked. He can't seem to get through the guard. Now he will into side control. And Mady's just going to try to lock him down.
I don't know. All he's got to do is rip that arm. I mean, yeah, it's just not locked up very tight. And this is where you go to work and just get that high volume. Maybe even isolate that arm if you can.
Yeah, from side control, even from half guard. This is where a lot of guys with the amateur wrestling backgrounds will love to be, because there's so much they can do to absolutely punish their opponent from here.
Go knee on the stomach and push and beat him up. Yep.
And it sounds like the corner urging him to get to full mount, go knee on the belly.
Elbow, Junior.
And Mady, he looks a little bit confused just at the moment.
It just seems like he's looking for a stalemate, hoping the ref will stand them up. But, I mean, as long as Junior stays active, that's not going to happen, as long as he's delivering some damage.
Yeah, this one I don't quite understand, Carrie. Chucky's gone 2-on-1 on the left arm, and he left that right arm open to continue into the side of the body. And at the same time, Chucky was trying to appeal to the official for a stand-up.
Yeah, and
oh, beautiful pass around back from Cortez.
well, it's kind of the universal sign for I'm almost done when you're on all fours. He's not doing much.
Cortez trying to keep the ride going. Mady back up to an extended base. Oh, but underneath. Cortez in full control of this position, knee to the body. Chucky slides back down. Oh, Cortez nailed him.
Good thing the ref, was right there right away.
Junior Cortez, you want to talk about making an impression. He comes off a split decision loss, and he's going to pick up a massive knockout victory over Chuck Mady. That second round, Kara, that was control for Junior Cortez. He had it on the ground, he had it on the feet. This young man is on a quick rocket ship up the rankings.
Well, that was a great person for Junior to face as well. When you find someone that's unpredictable and that comes with a variety of skills, that really helps your game, and your confidence moving forward when you will face future, fighters that you just don't know what they're going to do.
And there's another young man I would like to see in the PFC cage again in Junior Cortez. Very impressive in his promotional debut. He'll run his record to 4-1, and all 4 of his wins are going to come by way of knockout. Junior Cortez has a very, very bright future in the sport and an excellent team at the MMA lab behind him. That was an impressive performance. Chuck Mady stayed right in there with him, but after that scramble up off the ground, Cortez found the opening, and he found home for that uppercut. And good for Chuck Mady that he seems to be all right, back up on his feet, came over to congratulate Junior. Chucky obviously disappointed in the loss, as he's been doing very well in terms of the bare knuckle boxing scene. But again, it's just trying to master multiple disciplines at the same time, and so many things that he won't have to do in bare knuckle boxing that he has to do here in mixed martial arts. As Junior Cortez is flashing his Canadian credentials. He's got a Kyle Lowry Raptors jersey.
A round of applause, please, for both of the fighters in this cage. This contest came to a halt at 3 minutes, 15 seconds of the second round for your winner by TKO, Junior Cortez.
So Junior Cortez picks up the win. I bet he picked up a lot of Canadian fans with his performance and his Kyle Lowry jersey. Kara, take it away.
A very tough opponent, very unpredictable, Chuck Mady. Talk to me about this fight.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to thank you, Chuck, for taking the fight. Yo, you're tough as fuck, bro. Appreciate it. Secondly, yo, Canada, you guys are fucking beautiful, man. Way to go to the Raptors. You guys fucking killed it this season. Hell yeah. Woo!
And tell me about this fight, your thoughts on it. You guys were pretty much in a toe-to-toe battle on the stand-up side of things in that first round.
Yeah, basically, Chuck's a tough dude, man. Thank you for him once again taking the fight. I took the fight on a 3 weeks notice. I'm a bantamweight, not a featherweight. I went up a weight class. I'm trying to fight, trying to be active. I'm trying to put on a show for you guys. Thank you guys for coming.
And who do you have to thank? I know you have people from Phoenix watching as well. Tell me who you have to thank tonight.
I want to thank all the fathers. Happy early Father's Day to you guys. Round of applause to you guys, especially my coach, my head coach, Santino DeFranco. Thank you for being here. I know you're away from your family. I fucking love you, my man. My dad back home. And all the wonderful ladies keeping your husbands happy, you know what I'm saying? For sure.
And talk to me a little bit about your gym, coming in here all the way from Phoenix.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I'm all the way from United States, Phoenix, Arizona. I train out of the gym Fight Ready. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona. Woo. All right. We have a bunch of high-quality fighters, starting off with my beautiful younger sister. She's fighting on the UFC Contender July 30th. Her name is Tracy Cortez. She's a fucking star. Please look her up. Instagram is Cortez MMA. Also, my brother, love you, my man. We have high-quality fighters. Henry Cejudo, the champ out of my gym. Frankie Saenz, Roman Salazar. Everybody on my coach's back. John, fucking love you. Thanks for keeping me ready for this fight.
Congratulations.
Thank you once again. Go Raptors. Let me fucking hear it. Go Raptors.
Junior Cortez just made a whole fleet of Canadian fans. He scores a TKO victory. He's brandishing the Kyle Lowry Raptors jersey. That young man is going to become a Canadian fan favorite if he continues to fight on this side of the border. Kara, those are Canadian credentials right there.